Whenever you want to start, it's up to you, man. If you want to start with,
yeah. All right, well, we'll get into it. Hello. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Salutations. Happy Kwanzaa to everyone in the room, everybody listening. My name is LaCroix Nixon. I'm the founder and director of Slam Connection. To my left, to my right, I have my amazing directors. We got the Brianna Dobson, the director of the director of outreach for Slam Connection. I said to my right. This is my left. To my left. To my right, I got the Daniel Garwood, the director of artist development here at Slam Connection.
the camera's left. And the camera's right. I got you.
So so technically I wasn't wrong. Yeah. So but this side, that side. All right, listen, we are here.
The girl is Brianna and the boy is Daniel.
Facts. And man, it's been a year.
Huh?
It's been a year.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's been a year since. I was going to say, no, we definitely just saw each other.
We just did this, right?
Nah, it's been. We're already at the end of 2024. That's insane to think about. But. Yeah, okay. So this is the last like podcast of the year, right? Which is crazy to think about because we started this podcast this year, and to see how much love it's gotten has been insane. So before we start, I just want to say thank you to everybody that has been supporting. Thank you to everybody that's been sharing, liking, all of that. Like, there's more to come, but you guys are the best. But yeah, it's been an insane year. We did a lot this year, but really what I want to get into is first off, shout out our stagehand Achilles.
Achilles.
Shout out our stagehand Achilles.
Do you have anything to say to the people?
That's it. It's a bar. But yes, like for those who don't know, Achilles is our unofficial mascot of Slam Connection. But so like I said, thank you all for everybody that's like been supporting, been liking, sharing, all of that. But one thing I want to talk to you guys about is like the impact of slam, like slam poetry and like why it's important. Why does it matter? So real quick, I'm gonna whip out some numbers. We got some statistics.
Quick maths.
Statistics. Yeah, statistics.
Listen. You gotta get the statistics. So just real quick. In 2024, Slam Connection hosted 32 events in person and sponsored one. That is 62% of the entire year. Slam Connection held an event. There's only 52 weeks in the year. 32 of those weeks, we were doing something.
What else?
And on top of that, out of those 32 events, 20 of them, that's 63% of them, 20 of them were completely free. Right?
What else?
And open to the public. That breakdown goes to, all right, we had 7 open mics.
What else?
13 slams.
What else?
11 workshops.
What else?
And 1 live podcast. All right. And listen, we can go down the list of all the stuff that we've done, but like all of those things, we're not just getting on stage and doing things, we're creating community.
Nice.
But I wanted to ask you guys, like, why does it matter? Like, what's the point of it? Like, sure, this sounds dope on paper. It's great. But why? We did a lot of work. Why? What are y'all thinking?
It's creation, man. And it's the same thing I was saying before about the importance of creating, right? And like me personally, I identify as a creative. Like people always talk about me being a competitor or being a poet and all of that. And I'm like, I'm a creative first before I'm any of those other things. And we are all dope artists. So we all know how to create. And the next phase of creation is creating space for others, right? And that's the phase that a lot of people don't jump into. They get stuck into feeling the love of, oh, you do great poems. I love hearing your poetry. I love hearing your work. But they never go to that next phase of creation. They never use what they have to go forth and create. And that's what we've been doing, creating for everybody else.
Facts. What about you?
Saving lives, man.
Talk about that.
How many poets create a life through their poetry, but how many people who experience their poetry find meaning through the words that they hear?
There's a poem in there somewhere.
I think I'm spitting it right now. But, even for me personally, like entering the poetry space and finding Slam Connection genuinely changed the entire course of my life. And it was such a, relatively small thing in comparison to, my day to day, but genuinely changed everything about my life. And having that creative outlet is genuinely so important for people to either create or consume and find that meaning in that fulfillment.
It's so needed, especially in the city of Williamsburg. One thing I forgot to mention in that little stat rundown is that for 2 years straight, we've been the only consistent open mic in this city. Like, sure, there might be like one-off events like here and there, even in like the Yorktown area, but we're the only one that has been consistently meeting in the same place. Like, hey, no matter what happens, first Friday of the month, we at Column 15.
Rain or shine.
And building too.
Talk
'Cause,
about
like,
that. Elaborate on that, please.
I love telling everybody that, like, we don't have no OGs.
That's a bar.
You know what I'm saying?
Wait.
Like, we didn't have no OGs. We had an idea.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, we've been rocking with this idea, trying to make a way out of no way without the guidance of OG. We're the OGs in the community. You know what I'm saying? And like,
That's crazy.
yeah,
So
but it's like, cause
wild,
who set the table for us? Nobody.
built
We didn't walk into nobody's venue. We didn't walk into nobody's poetry scene. Like, we started a poetry scene,
Right.
which is very, very different. So it's create more than you consume, you know? Yeah.
Even especially in a city where nobody was checking, nobody was looking for there to be a poetry scene, even though there are so many talented people, even outside of poets.
Facts.
So many. Williamsburg is a hotbed for just artistic
Yes.
performance, whatever talent you can think of. It's all here. But nobody's checking for Williamsburg, Virginia.
Right.
And like the worst part is like before Slam Connection was really moving and grooving, like we all had to go up to Richmond, we had to go down to Norfolk
Facts.
to go to an open mic, go to a slam, whatever. You had to go outside the city. So like the fact that you mentioned like building, like I really think about that on like the ends of like, this is something that's going to be here, whether we're the ones leading it or hosting it or not. And I think that holds so much more weight. Especially when I think about the youth movement, like
Right.
what we've done for the youth over the last year alone, like you especially.
Oh, me?
Yes, you especially. I remember jumping into the Summer Youth Achievement Program. I think that was a prime example, and seeing how I remember how you connected with one of our friendly neighborhood youth poets.
Yeah.
Could you explain how that's like the story behind that? That was amazing.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. Getting into that was my first time ever like teaching kids outside of the juvenile detention center, but even that was a bit more of a less free, environment to kind of explore like teaching styles and things along those lines. Much smaller group. This was the first time I really got to like get a mentee more or less. And even being so, learning so much myself, teaching someone as you're learning with them is a very unique experience. And I see her every week now. I've been going out more frequently actually than just, we usually do the after school program on Thursdays, but I've been going out and spending some more time with her, and she's a beast. And having that talent so young. She's 11. How old were the kids that we taught at the youth achievement program? They're like 11
Children.
to
Yeah, they're like middle school, some high school.
to like 16, 17, and they were all insane. Like it floors me, knowing where I was at that age and the stuff that I was writing, to see what they're writing. I'm like, I was writing, my dog is cute and
Talk about it.
dear diary.
Yeah.
I might have an occasional bar that I got off Tumblr. But I didn't have
Tumblr poetry. Come on.
We're not that old, y'all.
welcome to my
poetry.
twisted world type of
For Pinterest.
I had my emo moments here and there, but I didn't have that depth, and the amount of creative understanding that these kids have is impressive. And it was really just a matter of us giving them that outlet to speak about it and bringing up, we brought up some more difficult topics. And I remember thinking, because again, this is my first time really teaching kids, I was like, are we gonna talk about this? And we talked about it, and they responded so maturely to it, and it hit them more than the surface level stuff. And that's what they wanted to write about, and really giving them that outlet, because I don't think that they feel like they can speak out about it outside of that context. So giving them that outlet was truly very fulfilling, and yeah, I love to just watch them grow, and it's amazing.
Yeah, man. Like, I think every time we step into an environment like that, I have to remind myself, I'm like, by the end of this, somebody's gonna never stop writing.
Facts.
Somebody's we're gonna create a lifelong writer or a lifelong reader or a lifelong performer, whatever. Somebody's gonna take something from this and they're never gonna put it down. And that's life-changing stuff. I think personally, I think poetry scenes are starting to evolve into places where that happens, because I think long gone are the days where we just go to the open mic or go to the slam and we go home, right? I think people are hungry for more, no matter what age you're at. That is one thing I've seen and heard across the poetry scene, especially in Virginia, but really everywhere. Everybody's looking for, like, okay, cool, the slam happened. All right, cool, the workshop happened. All right, cool, but like consistent cultivation. I think that's the name of the game. I was about to say, like, even like the youth, like you had mentioned the detention center. I forgot how to English. So you had
I
mentioned
can read your
As
mind.
the
I don't know if
poets.
you knew that.
Yes. You had mentioned the detention center. What's good, bro? He want to learn about it too.
You're not getting none of my ghosts.
No,
So
he
be
can't
for
have
that.
none.
So
All
be
right.
for that.
But yeah, he had mentioned. Oh, hello. So oh yes, Achilles.
He's going to be on the podcast.
Achilles
now.
is on the podcast. Hey.
Hey, buddy.
Cut.
Blooper reel.
Hey.
At least put your paws down. Hey, buddy. Grab his paws and he'll flatten out. All right.
He's like, people.
All right. I guess we'll just. Buddy. Give me that. There you go. All right.
He's like, what is this?
Stay right there.
All right.
As we were saying.
All right. So.
He really wants to speak on this. What do you have to say?
I think that's that. Okay. You had mentioned the juvenile detention center, right? Daniel, can you tell me about like what it was like when we like first got told like, hey, we're gonna do this, like, and really kind of connected back to like why this all matters, like how we even got that opportunity. Like, talk about
Well,
that.
for one, Slam Connection ain't never said no.
Come on,
True.
say that again. Say that
Slam Connection
again.
ain't never once
on.
said no. We ain't never been like, we can't do that. Like, it's never been that.
True.
We've always been like, say yes and figure it out later. And we've been figuring it out. But getting the Juvenile Detention Center, the opportunity itself came from us doing work in the community. Right? Where it was, the workshop?
Yep, it was the workshop.
So we do free workshops at the end of the month. And we're at the workshop, and then one of the people who works at the Juvenile Detention Center came through, saw what we were doing, and was like, hey, would y'all mind doing this at the Juvenile Detention Center I work at? And I overheard him asking Atlas this, and I turned around and was like, yes, absolutely we would.
I didn't even get a chance to say yes.
We sure would. We sure would. And it's mainly because of, again, creating that space, like creating that foundation and allowing people to be artists. And I know we grew up in a time where being an artist wasn't necessarily anybody's first choice.
Talk about it.
And it wasn't something that we were allowed to have as our first choice. It was like, oh yeah, you're really good at that, but like, what are you gonna do for work?
Come on.
What are you gonna do for money?
Yep.
And that whole mindset of I need to do stuff for work, I need to do stuff for money, like you miss out on such a large piece of yourself when you take away your artistry. And going to the Juvenile Detention Center, being among people who had a lot of themselves taken away and showing them that they still had that artistry inside of them
Facts.
was something that like you can't recreate. You know what I'm saying? There's no words for that. And going in there initially, and they was like, what was the group called?
Unit 3.
Unit 3 or something like that. We go in there and it's a bunch of the other like facilitators in there. And they're like, oh, what group are you guys working with? And we're like, Unit 3. And they was like, ooh.
Yeah, they all started wincing at us.
Yeah, it's Unit them. And I smiled so hard when they said that because people used to react like that when they said they had me in their class.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So, oh, you got Daniel? Like, that was people's reaction towards me. So, like, the full circle moment of being like, oh, no. If y'all reacting like that, that means these kids are fine. That means these kids are going to be all right, because I was. And I'm going to make sure that they good. And pulling up on them and, you know, having to kind of earn their trust in a sense. But in that same mindset of, like, creating a space for them in a place where they had no freedoms and showing them the freedom of writing and poetry and then seeing how they came back and was like, oh yeah, we love this now, you know, and
I'll never forget that.
Still writing poems, you know, and building that relationship with the community, building that relationship with the Juvenile Detention Center, because like they want us to come back, you know, and like this is what we talk about when you say what is the work for, right? Why is it important for us to continue to help Kylie be great, so that in 6 years' time she has something to walk into. You know, she has I'm just gonna be a part of Slam Connection because I've been a part of Slam Connection, and now Kylie's hosting open mics. Now Kylie's hosting slams. Kylie's doing the workshop at the Juvenile Detention Center.
Come on,
you know, Kylie's going back to her high school and doing workshops the same way you are, right? And it's important to continue to build this foundation. And when building the foundation, it was important for us to A, find the artists, and B, find the youth. Because the artists help us create and the youth help us continue.
Come on.
You know? So, yeah, very long-winded.
You better talk your stuff, bro. Not like on that same note, like even when they're not doing poetry, prime example, Fridge. Our friendly neighborhood Fridge. Bro.
The champ.
The champ. He turns around, he wins our youth Grand Slam this past February, right? And so the kid can spit. He got bars, right? Got amazing stage presence, and he read some of his poems, right? Like, got up there and did his thing. You know what he comes to our open mic and does? He plays guitar, and he's dang good at it. Like,
he shreds it.
He shreds it. Like, and he comes to the open mic, and we don't pressure him to do poems.
I do.
Oh,
I'm the guy.
Okay, we do. Because
we strongly encourage it.
Because his poetry is amazing. But it's not like we're trying to be like, oh, we're trying to build a team, or we're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. It's just, hey, we love to hear you do poetry. And we know you're really good at it. Do the thing. But also, we love it when he comes out and just shreds it and makes it apart. I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to, especially on the topic of like youth poets and youth artists, I think so many times we want the youth artists to express themselves the way we taught them. And till they start expressing themselves in the way that they know how to do or what feels comfortable to them, because that's part of the whole reason we did it in the first place. Because we don't really care if you grow up and become the next, I don't know, Ed Mabry or whatever. We don't. That would be dope. But like, we don't care if you grow up and become a famous poet, the next Toni Morrison, or I don't know, the next Maya Angelou or Langston Hughes. We don't care about that. We care that you grow up and you have healthy avenues to express, right? And that's what really sticks us out. Like, yeah, shout out Fred, shout out Kylie, shout out
the scene.
The scene.
Speaking of all of them, you want to talk about the youth showcase?
The youth showcase. Let's talk about that. So originally, we were going to do another youth Grand Slam. The thing is, though, like we said about the scene, we're doing a lot of building. The thing about the youth scene in Williamsburg is that unless we built them, they don't have a platform.
Thanks.
That's just the truth of it.
No OGs.
So there's no OGs. We are the OGs. So right now, it would be a lot to ask kids that are not like always writing poems or don't have places to write poems to come up with 3 memorized poems for a competition that they may not even completely understand yet. We have to, plus logistically, it was a lot for us. We're doing the Grand Slam, the Historic Triangle Grand Slam on the 15th, and that showcase is on the 1st. So it was like, okay, what if we just did it like a showcase? You come in, you perform, it's no pressure, you can do 1 poem and be done. Because we know a lot of kids with 1 poem, and the poems are bangers.
And them poems, boy, what?
That is a poem.
Listen, come to the showcase February 1st at the Williamsburg Regional Library. $15 to get in. My God. Y'all don't want to miss out. Like,
crazy.
it's crazy.
I'm over here smiling because I know some of the stuff that's going on stage, and
listen, I'm so excited, and if you're not excited, you better get excited. Go to Walmart, buy excited right now. It's discounted
on discount.
on the clearance aisle.
Put it on layaway.
It's on layaway right now. But like, I'm glad you brought that up because like the fact that that's happening, that's never happened in this city, especially for poetry. There's never been a space like that for kids to come out and showcase their talent in this way. Not one that's really been publicized and not one on this level. And I have so much faith and so much, I'm just so proud of like the youth in the area that we're taking 2 youth to be sack poets for the adult slam, right? We're probably going to do like a draw the hat or something like that. Cause we're not, I don't know. We'll figure something out. But
and if we don't put
ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. But yeah, man, the youth scene here in Williamsburg is happening because we've been cultivating, we've been building, making space for it. But those kids, I promise you, they will never question if they belong, especially amongst adults, because a lot of times kids, they're like, oh, there's a lot of older people in here. I don't know. And not this group. But I also wanted to like talk about how that work in the youth scene influences the adult scene and like how that, like seeing that influence that. So like a prime example of this, what open mic was it? I want to say it was August. Maggie gets on stage. Maggie, I happen to know Maggie. Shout out Crosswalk. Shout out Crosswalk Church. She was part of the youth group there. I had known her just helped to been a mentor to her and everything. She's awesome. She's like, I've been trying to get to an open mic for the longest. I promise I'm gonna get to one. She shows up to one, gets up on stage, does a poem, like breaks down. It was emotional, and the poem was insane.
It was.
And it was really heavy. And she got all that support from all the adults in the room to the point to where she comes off stage, first person she hugs is Dez, right? And it was such a moment where I was like, this is what Slam Connection is all about. You know, that was a moment where I felt like I saw it, you know. But what about you guys?
as far as the moment where you see the connection between the youth and the adults,
Sure, yeah.
it's just it's in the work and it's in intent and wanting the kids to be great. The last open mic, the first poet.
Talk about that.
The first poet.
Yeah.
A girl from the works. She's been coming to every single workshop.
For a
Has
year.
never like her and her sister come to the workshops, and her sister does like songs and raps, but like she shows up, she writes sometimes, but like she never wants to go on stage. She's nervous. But like we still teach. We still show like how to get on stage and how to do the thing. And she got up there, signed up first. At
At the open mic, going first.
And it wasn't like she was the first one there. Like people had skipped that one. And she signed up first, went up there and did a poem from memory. But more so than her doing the poem from memory, she incorporated all of the techniques that we teach in Slam Connection.
Yes.
As far as having words mean something, having actions mean something, having a stage presence. And then more so than any of that, shit that made me, like, I was sitting there like, this is about to make me cry. The poem wasn't even emotional, but the moment was, because she drops her poem.
Talk about it.
Drops the poem as the first person at the open mic, her first time really on stage doing a poem, and she drops it. And she stays there. And then she picked it back up. And then she dropped it again and stayed there. Like, the poets know how hot it gets on the stage
Yep.
when you drop your poem.
Yeah.
Right? It get real hot real
Sickening.
fast.
And dark.
And for her to sit through the drop, and get through the poem, I was like, like in the words of Damian Lillard, ain't nothing I want more.
Facts.
Ain't nothing I want more. If she would have did that in the slam, I would have told her she won.
Yep.
She won. Like that's a W, and redefining what winning is for the kids. But as far as the connection between that and the adults, it's inspiring to us. It's inspiring to us to be like, well,
Yes.
if she can do it, I can do it. Because we all get nervous. You know, all the poets, we all get nervous. It's what we do about it. And seeing the youth come up, seeing them implement the tactics that we teach, and seeing them get through moments like that, like she's already getting on stage and sitting through her drop. Like that's something that adult poets can't do.
True.
Like
Professional adult.
professional, like
I almost
ranked,
crashed out when I dropped my poem on stage that one time.
right? like nationally ranked poets will drop their poem and be like, "Dang, that's it," and they walk off.
Yep.
And like, or they'll drop their poem and it'll get really, really emotional for them to lose in that moment like that. And for her to drop that poem, go through all of these emotions that we're talking about, and still come out on the other side and finish the poem, there's nothing I want more. Like that's what we teach. Like it's bigger than the score, and it always will be. It's bigger than whatever people think slam poetry or spoken word. It's bigger than all of that. It's overcoming. You know what I'm saying? It's creation through the arts, and then overcoming stage fright. You know, like, and getting people up there and showing them how to present their ideas and their emotions to the world. Like, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, man.
Nothing better.
And for me, the Summer Youth Achievement Program that we did, realizing how I change my writing and my behavior even within the scene because of them, right? How many times do I think about Kylie, for example? How many times am I writing something and I'm like, this is something that I want Kylie to hear because I want her to be able to follow my example. She and I just had a conversation, which I won't disclose like for her privacy, but we had a conversation this last time where she inspired me to write a poem because it's something that she wants to talk about and she's afraid to. So I now want to write that poem to give her the stage space to come in after me. And that really made me realize how much I'm changing my own, perspective on a lot of things and how I am adapting myself to be a good role model and to leave the stage in a space that is safe for the youth to take it after me.
Okay, can you say that one line one more time again?
Creating a stage that is safe for the youth to take after me.
Come on, man.
That feels safe enough to play. Ready or not. Wee! Frolicking.
All right, there we go.
Y'all don't know nothing about that.
Y'all don't know nothing about
Yeah.
it. But that part right there, creating a stage safe enough. I think and I see it a lot in a lot of different poetry scenes, when the adults are only thinking about the adults, they can't get mad when the demographic doesn't get younger, right? They can't get mad when people don't want to come out and play with you, right? When the stage you stand on is not safe, right? And you're only thinking about yourself, you're only thinking about your poem, your team, your thing, your whatever you're trying to get out of this, and you're not thinking about someone's going to get on the stage after me,
Right.
then you can't be mad when nobody comes to the stage anymore.
Right.
And that's one thing I love so much about what Slam Connection has really grown into, is that, like, I could stop right now, right? I could stop, like, if I could pass on the Slam Connection, one of these two, right? And I know good and well, oh, it's going to be good.
Gonna be all right.
And even in, like, say 10 years from now, say Fridge is like, hey, I want to try to learn what it means to run Slam Connection or something like that. I know I've left a safe space. I know the directors here, everybody that's on our directors board and our team, we've made a safe space for all of them. I think I knew we were doing something right when open mic in November or October. Remember that group of kids?
Yeah.
At Column 15, the stage is like right by a window. And so people just be rolling by, walk by the window. It's funny. we got to get some footage of like people just like stopping their cars and like
Yeah.
looking into like the open mic because it'd be packed.
Camera up out there.
It'd be packed, and people just be like, "Oh, what's going on in there?" Well, every open mic we have, there's this group of kids. They couldn't be like maybe 8th, 9th grade,
Yeah, maybe 14, 15.
something like that.
Yeah.
They always walk by. They always kind of look in and keep walking. This time, they all came in at the same time. It was like 6 or 7 of them. No, it's like 8 of them. It's a gang of them. They come in and they sit down. There's some couches on the stage area, so they sit down in the couches, and we're getting ready to get set up in like 5 minutes. Like we better get ready to start. And I'm like, "Oh, y'all coming for the open mic?" They said, "Oh, where's the open mic?" And they looking like, "Oh,
Yeah.
like they just trespassed." And I'm like, "Actually, nah, it's free. If y'all want to be a part, y'all want to even sign up, y'all can." And they said, "Word." And they looked at each other. Then everybody looked at the one kid in the group that they all know raps.
Yeah.
And then he looked at them, and they looked at him, and he looked at them, and they was like, "Oh, so you gonna sign up?" He ended up signing up, right? He gets on stage. Not only does he get on stage, his friend, right, got up there and did like ad libs.
They do ad libs.
They did ad libs and was there for like moral support, right? It was amazing. But I'm like, in that moment, I'm like, you know what? If we didn't create a safe space for them to be here, they would have walked back out the door. They never would have connected with us.
Right, and not having your nose up and your pinky out to people that don't just do poems.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that they would have been able to do that in a setting that wasn't set up the way that we have it.
Yep.
You know, like they went up there and they rapped as good as you would think a 13 or 14-year-old
Yep.
from Williamsburg would rap,
Yep.
right?
From Williamsburg is a nice touch.
Yeah, right. But it's the truth. It's the truth. And like, we still clap for him.
Yeah.
We still cheer for him. And
Made noise.
if they want to come back, they know they can.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nobody laughed at them. Like, we laughed with them, but nobody laughed at them. Nobody told them that their song wasn't good or that they need to work on this or they need to work on that because they kids. We want y'all to keep coming out and see the work that we're doing. And like, and they will. I see that in them, you know? And I think it's so important for us when we create in that space to not like have our nose up.
Yeah.
You know?
Not even just for kids. We don't.
Even
That's
for
not
adults.
that's not the culture, right?
Come
Like
on,
you don't
yeah.
unless someone is coming. You don't know what someone's coming up to that stage to do. Not everyone wants to be the #1 slam poet. Sometimes
Right.
people just want to speak their heart.
I'ma
And
speak it.
when you have a space that is open to and there is no bad poetry that can touch that stage because there is no, or whatever it is that you do, because it's not about being quote unquote good.
Right.
It's
Talk
just
about it.
about doing the thing. And that's what we
about it.
want you to come out and do.
And like the thing is with that is you was talking about if your demographic isn't getting younger and it's like having crops.
Come on.
Right?
Talk about it.
And like getting upset when they expire and you have nothing left when you weren't cultivating. Right? Just because you love the corn that you got don't mean you don't need to plant more.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if you have a scene full of just OGs that's been doing it since, Def Jam, you know what I'm saying? Like, been doing this since Mark Smith, like, what's he supposed to say after that? Mark Smith. So what? No, so what? Not say what.
Say what?
Yeah, shout out Say What, South Carolina. But, they've been doing this since Mark Smith and Def Jam and all of that. And you don't have nobody like sub 25 doing poems. You don't have nobody like sub 18 doing poems. Like, that's because you're not planting seeds. It's because you're not doing workshops. It's because you're not teaching. It's because you're not cultivating and creating that scene. And those scenes that only have the OGs in it, like most of the time it'd be like they sitting back, like I said, nose up, pinky out. I know what poetry is because I've been doing this for this long. If that's not good poetry, I'm not supporting it. And it's like, everybody got to start somewhere.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
Everybody got to start somewhere. And
Spicy.
we, as Slam Connection, appreciate the ones who start.
Come on.
Yes.
Because it's to walk through the doors is impressive. To sign the list is impressive. To get on the stage is impressive. And they asked when we do workshops, and we said the last Saturday of the month, but we also said after every event.
Come on. Facts.
After every event we do, there is a workshop that takes place, whether it's outside the venue, in the venue, like You can ask any of us any questions as it pertains to your poem, your poetry. Yep. We've read poems in the dead of night. We've read poems in the dark. We've read poems in the cold. Somebody said they got a poem they need worked on. Come, bring it on.
Facts.
We got it. We're going to help you. We're going to help you do all the things. And that's because it's so important to plant those seeds. Yep.
That's how I befriended these two, was how many times I came up to y'all after
that part. An example.
What was the feedback that y'all had on a piece?
Right?
A case study.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't be the vegetable man and have all of these prime vegetables and you're not still planting seeds. Because they're going to keep growing.
Talk, you know what I'm saying? Come on now.
Yeah.
You preaching, man.
Sick.
Because, like, listen, I'm going to say this and then we're going to transition to close. But all I'm going to say is, like, as a Christian, I believe that God gives seed to the sower, right? You can't get mad that your hands are empty and you're not in the field, right? At the end of the day, like, I can say confidently that Slam Connection, before we had the open mics, we was in after school programs. Because there was a time, 2022, we had our first open mic. The venue had gotten shut down that we were doing it at. But that's when I established a connection with War Hill High School every Wednesday after school. Fridge and the Great Sage. We was in there and I taught those kids pretty much everything I knew. Just cultivating them, just getting them ready, all right, cool. That's about the time we started having the workshops at the library. We still didn't have an open mic yet. Right. We didn't even have a platform. We just had an Instagram and after school programs. So then by the time we started doing it, before we started trying to put people on stage, we were cultivating. That's really the culture of Slam Connection. And I think, like I said, I think this is where poetry is starting to head, especially in the form of slam poetry. Too many times we hear the stories of like youth poets or former youth poets that are no longer doing poetry because they were hurt by wherever they were. And I think that's so heartbreaking, not just because it's like, oh, that person is talented, but I'm like, poetry is supposed to be a safe place in general. Like, it's supposed to be like such, not just a cathartic experience, but it's supposed to be a place where, you know, we go, we let some things go and we learn, we grow together. It's supposed to be someplace like Achilles right here. It's supposed to be, poetry is supposed to be like a dog on the couch, right? Not a wolf in the woods. And the problem is that a lot of people sat on a couch and thought they was in a living room. The problem is they was in the woods and the wolves were poets right next to them. And that is heartbreaking. Trying our best and really doing our best to not only not recreate that, but to also show like, no, like, you can come in here and this is your space too. And that, I don't care how old you are, right? If you're a human being, you have space and agency here. So that's really what it comes down to. Like why poetry matters. I'm gonna close with this. If y'all got any thoughts y'all want to add to it, why slam matters. Like you said, it saves lives. It makes people look at themselves differently. Yeah, that's all I got to say. What y'all?
Yeah, you know, that's really it saves lives. It makes lives, and you know, there's survival and there's living, and poetry is where you find life.
That's a bar.
Yeah,
but yeah,
the craft. That's it for me. I've been saying this for the longest. Like, people see me as a competitor. People see me as somebody who likes to win. But, like, the people who know me know how much I just love the craft. And, like, the craftsmanship of poetry, the competition of slam, like, I don't know how to explain it. It's such a free platform, you know, and it's like you can go in there and create whatever you want. Like, at the Summer Youth Achievement Program, we spent the first 3 weeks answering the same question. Can I write about this? Yeah. Can I write about that? Can I write about this? Can I write about that? Until eventually they knew they could write about anything. And like, giving people that freedom to like create is where not just poetry, but just the art scenes in general, like, that's where we're supposed to be at. If people don't feel like they can come there and be free, then like, why are we here? You know?
If I can add on to that too, it's not even just the poetry itself and the craft, but also how many people do we have who find purpose in the community of
Come on.
the open mics and the slam connection. How many non-poets do we have surrounding that
Plenty.
space?
Whoa, hold on. Yes.
Plenty.
Facts.
Plenty.
Talk about
They
that.
find their own fulfillment in coming out. You know, our photographers, Kit and John, they're out there every event.
Shout out Kit and John.
Shout out Kit and John.
Shout out Kit and John, bro. Come on.
Not Kit and John. Kit and John.
And John.
Kit and John.
Our photographer couple extraordinaire.
Amazing.
But they find their own fulfillment in the experiencing of the scene and what they can contribute to it. Larea wasn't spitting poems for real
Nope.
for a long time.
She's a
Now she's a
beast.
beast, and I'm terrified of her.
A living beast.
But for a long time, she was just out.
Achilles is terrified too.
Yeah,
He said, Hooray.
But you know, she was still coming out and doing, and she wanted to. It's not a sense of obligation, and I think that's what's so beautiful about this community is there's no, you need to come out and support this thing and help us out and support your friends. No, it's I want to come out and be a part of this thing, regardless of whether I'm a poet or not, or whether I'm presenting something on the stage. Everyone feels so important in that space.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, man. If you're not connected with Slam Connection at this point, y'all missing out. Like, whether you're a poet or not, whether you're an artist or not, I don't care, man. Like, as you know, listen, 63%.
What else?
All right, 63% of all of our platforms and stuff that we do completely free, right? And listen, out of the 52 weeks of the year, 52 weeks in a year, right? 32 of them, we're doing things. And the only reason it's not more is because Column 15 built a space for us. So listen.
True, we had a little bit of a break.
So there was about a
reconstruction.
3-month gap where the space that we do our open mics was under construction. So we would have had more.
Yep.
So what I'm saying is, listen, if you're looking for a reason to connect, you don't need one. Just come through. Just come through, man. But yeah, listen, invest in your local youth scene.
Facts.
Because it's all fun and games until they're not youth anymore, and then you wonder why they don't come around. Invest in your local art and poetry scene because it's all fun and games when you're looking for people to speak up about different things that are happening in the world, and then your city is quiet. Listen, invest, be a part, come out. Yeah, that's all I got to say. That's all we got to say. Thank y'all for tuning in. It's been a great year. Yeah,
It really has.
it's been insane. Thank y'all for riding with us in 2024. See y'all in 2025. Stay tuned. It's gonna get real spicy. Yes, sir. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Cool.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. I don't know what this is.
This is me.